What is it you said to the kid? The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very rough, mean place. And no matter how tough you think you are, it'll always bring you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You or nobody ain't never gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get it. Keep moving. How much you can take and keep moving forward. If you know what you're worth, go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hit.
Okay, we're down at the Jamie Williams Legends Gym in Romford. I'm joined by Kris Agyei-Dua, who's preparing for his Southern Area title. Kris, how's it going so far?
Really well, thank you, mate. Yeah, best preparation I've ever had. That's a bit of a cliche fight, I say it all the time, but it really is. I'm absolutely flying at the moment. Weight's coming off nicely, got to lose 4 or 5 pounds, but other than that, mate, going really well.
So it's a big fight for you. It's the third time you're going for the Southern Area. Obviously under Jamie now as well. Different training techniques he's been bringing in?
I was actually under Jamie for the other 2 Southern Areas, to be honest, but more so outside of the boxing gym with different techniques coming in. I'm now training with a guy called Mike Cooper who does me strength and conditioning work, so a little bit more structure to the training rather than before. I think it was a little bit naive and coming in and sort of beasting me every day, and by the end of the week, Friday, flat as a pancake trying to spar and could barely get anything out. But now we're sort of a lot more structured, and I think Mondays we have an hard one, Tuesday toned down a bit, Wednesday hard, Thursday a bit easier. So yeah, just so the days when we are training hard, I'm getting a lot more out than I was before. So
we see you with the heart rate monitor earlier on. I'm guessing that's kind of what you were saying about earlier, about different training techniques and obviously work along with that. Is that one of the things you've implemented under this mic?
Yeah, with it now, I think when we wear the heart rate monitor on the Tuesdays and the Thursdays, which are my easier days, my heart rate's not allowed to go above 150 beats a minute. So just promote a bit of recovery in your off days. We do a lot more sort of technical work and not taking too much out of the immune system. And then on the Friday and Mondays and Wednesdays is when we go full throttle, and obviously it doesn't really matter what the heart rate monitor says, then we're just going as hard as we can. So yeah, it's a good way of monitoring it, because I think it's a bit crazy before. I mean, didn't know it till it was highlighted to me by my strength conditioning trainer, but it's very hard to sort of quantify have an easy day. For a lot of fighters before, I was saying have an easy day, you get in there, you start feeling good, and before you know it, you're going hell for leather and thinking you're having half an easy day, but you're not. You're actually taking a lot out of your system. So with the heart rate monitor, it doesn't lie. If your heart's going 150 beats a minute, you know you're having a relatively easy day. So yeah, we plugged that in and it seems to be working.
So that's changed recently over a few years, isn't it? Strength and conditioning coaches and this kind of training's become more apparent over the last couple of years. Most of the top fighters in the world have a strength and conditioning coach, so obviously there is a benefit for it, and you're feeling the benefit for it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, to be honest, before we were probably a little bit ignorant of it and was like, well, you don't need strength and conditioning coaches, this is boxing. And ultimately, the actual boxing side of it is it's a skilled sport, and no strength and conditioning coach is going to make you a better boxer, so to speak. But what they can do is get you in a better condition to box, which is what I've noticed now. Like I said, he doesn't get involved in the boxing side, so the Monday, Wednesday, Friday when I'm in here, and even the easy days when I'm in the boxing gym, that's Jamie's domain, and Mike has no input into that sort of thing other than the intensity that we're doing. But then outside, like, we do this cardiac threshold running, which is absolute killer. I can't stand it, but it's brilliant. It pays dividends, and yeah, some of the little things that's implemented outside of the boxing gym now is definitely paying off, and we're seeing that in the sparring. Like when we're getting sort of to the last rounds, whereas before I'd be playing at my backside, so to speak, and now I'm sort of coming on strong in them last rounds. So we can definitely see that it's working, because it's very hard to quantify in boxing. Like obviously, if you're training a sprinter, you can say, oh yeah, when I got him, he was running at 10.5, now he's running 10.3. I've improved him. With a boxer, it's very hard to say if he's improved or not, because you can't quantify it. But what we've definitely noticed is like you're getting the feedback when he's asking me how are you feeling, and you can just see it now. And in the last couple of rounds, feeling stronger and still throwing full-blooded punches, so it's definitely working.
Okay, so you mentioned sparring now. You said you would notice a difference in sparring. Who have you had down for sparring? Are you happy to say who you sparred for this camp?
Yeah, we're at that. I've had one guy, Laron Richards, who's an absolutely class amateur, and no doubt he's going to be a class professional as well. Same Danny Dignam, another class boy on the amateurs, on the GB. He's got a really good amateur. In fact, I used to spar with Danny quite a lot when he was a youth. We was at the same amateur club together, but times have changed now. He's a lot stronger now. I mean, I have to take it easy strength-wise with him. Obviously, they was always better boxers than me, him and John Dignam. But nowadays, the power is a very different story. And then the last couple of weeks, I've had Matt McCarthy, another good fighter, a little bit lighter than me, but very good fighter as well. And John Ryder, who obviously is one of the best middleweights in the country, all southpaws. So obviously getting ready for Freddie, he's a southpaw. A few of the different sort of techniques from Freddie. I mean, Matt McCarthy's probably the most liking technique-wise, I'd say. And Leron Richards is a bit of a freak of nature, really. He's quite a tall, rangy, but he's got everything, that kid. And yeah, I mean, to be honest, they didn't go great with Leron. He got the better of me, but all great learning. But with John Ryder, I've done hundreds of rounds with John through the years, and the last week I think I've probably done the best rounds I've done with him. So yeah, it's been going really well.
Excellent. So obviously you said Freddie Turner is your opponent. How are you going to approach it? How have you got a game plan? Obviously I don't expect you to tell us your game plan now, but how do you think the fight panning out? How do you think what Freddie's going to bring to the table?
Well, what Freddie definitely brings to the table is he's a slick southpaw, very good boxing brain from what I've seen. I think I've said in some interviews before, it's very hard to see what he doesn't do so well, because all the fighters I've managed to get footage on, probably the same, he's got the same problem with me. You're generally fighting fellas that maybe a little level beneath and not in the same kind of class, so it's very hard to see what he doesn't do so well. But one thing I have noticed a little bit is when he's under a little bit of pressure, he struggles more so than when he's coming forward. I think he's definitely looks to me to be a bit of an on-top fighter. But yeah, whatever comes, to be honest, it's one of them. I mean, I've been in fights before, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I've only had 11 fights, well, I think 10 or 11 fights, but I'm experienced enough to know now that fights don't generally go how you plan them. So, do you know what I mean, we've got in our head. I know it's going to be tough. There's no two ways about that. I mean, Freddie's a class fighter, and I mean, I've seen his fights with Nathan Graham. I've heard he had a great one with Jenkinson as well, which was a bit of a war. So, yeah, but I'm willing. Whatever happens in this fight, I'm ready for, and we'll deal with it accordingly.
So in the past we've had the shoulder injury, and how's that been holding up? Have no problems at all? Or?
No problem at all, the shoulder. I mean, well, I think when I first come back, every now and then I get a tiny little twinge, and probably a lot of it was psychological, expecting it to hurt more than it was. But yeah, haven't had any trouble whatsoever. I'm throwing the right hand full-blooded, and yeah, been doing a bit of strength training and making sure we're doing a lot of rehab on the shoulders still, even now. I've seen it happen, a year ago or so, over a year ago now, and we're still working on the shoulder. So yeah, it's nice and strong now, so going into this fight with no worries about nothing.
It can be like an injury sometimes, and you can get over it physically, but sometimes mentally you hold on to it for a little while, don't you? And I think, like you say, that might be what's happened when you very first come on. You're kind of expecting it to hurt. And
yeah, with your friend, right? And you're half pulling it, thinking, I don't want the same thing to happen again. And that's that feeling. Like, if it goes, it goes. I mean, I'm in no illusions. It was never going to be as strong as it was at some point, but you can't go into a fight, especially with someone of Freddie's class, worrying about not throwing full-blooded right hands or letting it go. And jump touch wood, it's not going to go again, but if it goes, it goes. But I'll be putting everything into this fight, that's for sure.
So I've heard you say before, this is your World Cup, the Southern Area. Southern Area is one you really want to think, so it's quite an important fight for you. It's not necessarily a crossroads fight, but it's one you're really, really up for and really looking forward for. Yeah, massively. I mean, obviously with the history, where obviously I've boxed for it twice, and everyone knows, like, the first one got a draw, which I don't think I deserved for. I got beat. Second one, my shoulder come out. So the third one, obviously, it means a lot for that. And more than anything, I think when I first started, me and Jay, I think Jay took me to a fight between Tony Salam and Richard Orton, which was for the Southern Area before I even turned pro. Jamie was trying to give me a kick out the backside, 2-turn pro, and so we were sitting there watching that. I was a bit in awe. I was a big boxing fan at the time, watching that, thinking, oh, this is good level. And Jay said to me, this isn't beyond you. You could do this if you knuckled down. And ever since that day, it's always been in my head. And the day I turned pro, I mean, in front of the British Boxing Board, and they asked, what do you want out of the game? And I said, Southern Area title. And I was always just determined to fulfil my potential at one thing in sport, because since being a kid, it was football as a kid, but I've always wanted to be a champion or be a professional sportsman, and obviously the pinnacle of being a professional sportsman is being a champion. So this is, obviously I've won the title at the Masters title, which meant a lot to me, I'm not going to lie, but at the same time, as a real boxing fan, I think if you know you're boxing, Masters titles are good, no doubt, but it's not in the same class as the Southern Area. To me, that's the first proper title, so to speak. So yeah, this means the world, literally, means the world to me. So you mentioned about the football. For some people may or may not know watching, that obviously you had a history before in football. Did you want to talk a little bit about that, tell me about your football career at all? Yeah, I played for Brentwood Town. I was Billericay Town as a youth for a little while, and then I just had a little bit of ag when I was 21, got a load of racial abuse on the pitch from some idiot and lost my temper, as you do, and headbutted a guy, never been in trouble before, and they ended up locking me up. I needed a little sentence, I got 2 months, of which I served a month, and then come back out, started to play football again, and sort of
reputation sort of preceded me. So every time I come on the pitch, was getting, oh, we know who you are, saying we've got our eye on you. And there was another little altercation, nothing racial, but basically got sent off a pitch for no fault of my own, did absolutely nothing, and then attacked in the bar after, punched in the mouth, which I've got no teeth, got knocked my front tooth out, and then after that I was done with football. I just thought, you know what, I can't promise if this kind of thing happens to me again, I'm not going to retaliate and do something. And it's not in my nature, I'm quite a chilled, laid back fella, and but with them kind of things, if you're attacked or racially provoked in my case, then I'm not superhuman, I would lose my temper. So I thought, you know what, football's done, and I needed something else. I always loved sport and boxing, and just sort of fell into it. There's a guy, Gareth Lawrence, you know, he was a pro at the time, and he worked on a building site with me, and just said to him, do you mind taking me to the gym? And he took me to the Peacock, and the rest is history, so to speak. So yeah, here I am.
Well, as a boxing fan, I'm glad you made that transition to boxing from football anyway. But so just coming into this fight, some people would describe it, perhaps you're the underdog coming into this. Has that changed your mindset? Do you feel you're the underdog, or how are you approaching it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it'd be silly not to. Freddie's unbeaten in 10 fights. I think he was a 2-time national champion as an amateur at youth level. No doubt he's a class fighter, and he's beat the guy that beat me, or I got the draw, but he beat me, and then obviously the second fight shoulder come out. But Nathan, as far as I'm concerned, beat me in the first fight, and Freddie beat Nathan, albeit controversially in my eyes due to the gum shield incident, but he beat him, and he's looked better than me in most of his fights previously. So I've trained like an underdog, which I think is the biggest difference, because I think when you train like an underdog, you can perform like a champion in the ring. And hopefully Freddie's, I can say it now because it's too late if he hasn't. If he's been training thinking I'm here to make up the numbers, and I've seen one interview where he sort of says he's in a different class, and all right, you might be up to now, but I said I'm not here to make up the numbers, and I'll be leaving it all in there on the night. So yeah, underdog or not, I'm there to win.
Underdogs have won before, and boxing's a funny old sport, isn't it? And so we've been down here today, and we've just seen obviously some of your stablemates. You've been here, seeing you on the pads with Jamie and stuff. Do you want to talk about your stable and the guys you got here? And obviously there's a good atmosphere here, good banter going on, and Jamie's a really nice guy. Do you want to talk a little bit about your stablemates?
Yeah. Obviously I got Joe Mullen, who boxes for Steve as well. And Joe's a great guy. Obviously me and Joe were trained when we first turned pro by the same trainer, Jason, and then Joe's found his way over to here and get on really well with Joe. And then we've got Adam Art, who's looking to turn pro soon. We've got a lot of other boys. Obviously Kev Lilly's here today, a good mate of mine. Again, Kev was with Jason back in the day when I first boxed at the Noble Art. And we've got great banter down here. Like, there's no superstars in this gym. It's like, you can have a look around the gym. It's a bit of a spitting sword. That's nothing flash, and no one flash in it. Do you know what I mean? Which is perfect. Do you know what I mean? We all get on really well. And like I said, there's no superstars in here. We just all gel well, and there's great banter, and it's a good place to be. Which is good, because you're in here every day for a good couple of hours, and it's not always pleasant. Do you know what I mean? You're putting yourself through it, and it's great to have good people around you. So yeah, we have great banter, and it's a laugh. There's nowhere I'd rather be for a good 2 hours of my day, 2-3 hours. So yeah, I love it down here.
And that's the thing, isn't it? The fighter-coach relationship's got to be quite close as well as your stablemates. It's really, really important, because when things go wrong, or when it gets a bit heated in there, you need someone you can come back to the corner and trust. And obviously that seems, seeing you today, that's what you've got with Jamie. So
yeah, first and foremost, obviously he's my coach, but first and foremost we're friends. And I think that's quite important, because obviously if he's got to make the call, to obviously save you in some respect. I see that Jay got a bit of criticism in the last one when my shoulder went, because I think, it must have happened before, and that was not the case at all. Even when the shoulder went back in, it was almost an accident. James was sort of rubbing me in consolation, really, and it just popped back in. I said, no, come on, we're going. And he did. You got to think, this is Jamie's dream as well. He wants to train the champion, so we were both in it. And I'll never at any point I'll be responsible for letting me go back in there. And I sort of took a bit of offence to people thinking that the trainer shouldn't have let him go back in. And Jamie probably wouldn't have had any choice in the matter at that moment. I was going in whatever, and ultimately it should have been the ref, but I don't blame anyone, because I wanted to go. So yeah, but first and foremost, we've got a great relationship, and I do implicitly trust when I go back to the corner and he tells me to do something that it's the right thing, because obviously we've sparred thousands of rounds with other people, and when he's done the corner, and I've noticed that when I do listen to him and I do what he says, things generally start going better and you get hitless. So yeah, I do trust him, which is very important.
All right, well, thanks for having us down today. Just one last thing before we go. What's your prediction for the fight? How do you think you're going to win it, or do you want to keep that under wraps at the moment?
I've got no idea, to be honest with you. I'd love to knock him out. I've not stopped the last couple, not proper knockouts, but I think every fighter dreams of winning the title by a knockout. So obviously that's what I want. I can't predict it. I'm done making predictions. I've done that in the 2 fights with Nathan Graham, and let's see what happened there. So I'm not going to make a prediction, but all I'm going to say is, I'm going to, at the end of the day, I'm going to get my hand raised, and I'm going to get it raised because I deserve to get it raised, not because I've had a lucky decision from a ref like I got in the first one. So that's it.
Well, thanks for having us down today, Kris, and good luck for July 12th. Looking forward to it.
No worries. Thank you very much. Cheers.